9 December 2022. Like many other days, I was watching YouTube being guilty of mindlessly scrolling to spend time and avoid the feeling of boredom. Until I saw one video of a certain boxer. And yes, the video was a weird editing, but I saw something else in that video. This boxer was different. His hands were down, where one of the first things that we tell boxer is to keep their hands up. His footwork was weird. His dodges, slips, punches, everything had something indescribable to it. Something magical. It was so smooth that it almost felt like it was part of him. It was almost like boxing was as easy for him as walking for the normal person. So I started to research more and more about this fighter. I was hooked. And I didn't know it at the time, but I was looking at a boxer who made me love boxing. And his name is Prince Naseem Hamed. Our story begins on February 12, 1974, in Sheffield, in England. Naseem Hamed wasn't born in a wealthy family. Born from a migrant dad from Yemen who was working as a shipping clerk and his mom who was a homemaker. His dad, as well as his brother, were amateur boxers, which likely influenced Naseem's early exposure in the sport. So at the age of 7, his dad took him to the now-renowned Brendan Ingalls gym. And even at that age, his natural talent for the sport was undeniable, as well as his unorthodox style, which quickly caught the attention of none other than Brendan Ingalls, the owner of the gym, who trained many other great boxers. As he grew older, his interest in the sport began to rise. He started training more seriously, and more importantly, he started to develop his unique fighting style. As a teenager, Hamed competed in amateur boxing tournaments, in which he was already levels above any other competitors. But a teenager winning with a provoking boxing style that doesn't even look close to the conventional boxing, coupled with his lack of humility, his arrogance, as well as his spectacular ring entrance in such a traditional sport, would make him a very controversial fighter and would hurt him a lot of detractors, and it would only get worse from here. With his determination and the goal of becoming a world champion, he continued his way to the top. In 1992, he started his professional career, in which he would absolutely dominate his opponent. In his first 11 professional fights, which of course he all won, only one would be by decision, which already gives him more than a 90% knockout rate. He would make any boxer, regardless of their talents, look bad because of his style combining boxing and dancing. And as much as his critics wanted him to lose, there was just nobody that was good enough to even pretend to give him a challenge. And as an undefeated boxer, it didn't take long until he got a shot at the European Championship.
No, he's chasing shadows at the moment. We're all trying to really judge Hamed by going a few rounds. Too much of a test.
Hasn't managed to put him even under any pressure. He's one of his pressures of days. He's complaining to the referee there.
Corner there, quite rightly saying don't get complacent to Hamed. Hey, backing off there, fellow, and stuff. Yeah, he was setting himself for it too, Hamed. Waiting perfectly when they come in. 3s. And could be looking 34 any minute.
The new welterweight champion of Europe, Naseem Hamed!
Now one step closer to the dream of becoming a world champion, he had every card to achieve his dream. Everybody was looking at him, and the only thing that separates him from the world champion title could be himself. And on the 12th October 1994, only 2 years after his professional debut,
At the weigh-in yesterday,
The yellow one that's introducing him now. Oh, what a good shot. To see him shaking in the opening round, that is news.
I don't think I've ever seen a fighter with just so much confidence in what he's doing. Cruz is in bad trouble here.
Jim, this will be sensational if he stops this fella.
Cruz's legs are shaky, Reg. He hasn't shown the effects of the first couple of good attacks.
Reflexes as Farron McGregor on the side. He's really got him.
But he's so...
I think he realised what had hit him at a couple of stages there. He worked that punch early on. Game fella Cruz, and I tell you what, he's got to be, because it's all over. Referee's quite right. He's seen the man wobble. He knows he's banging.
he made it. At only 20 years old, he became the world champion, like he promised he would. He started to gain popularity in the world of boxing, and even the interviewer had a jaguar tie in reference to Prince.
That's a wicked tie you got on there, my
It's
brother.
a cheap and nasty tie, actually, but it was given to me by Brendan Ingle. It's one of the Flintstones. We're all joining your fan club.
Winning a world title is certainly impressive. It requires a lot, and only a few boxers can achieve it. But what separates the champions from the legends is being at the top for years, not just once. And if you paid attention to the title of this video, you probably know where this is going. Over the next year, Prince Naseem Hamed would win 7 consecutive fights, all being world title defenses against other veterans of the sport, which he finished the fight all by knockout. Nobody was even close to him. So after defending his belt for the 7th time, he wanted to take a new challenge. He wanted to take more than just a contender. He wanted another champion. So his next target would be the featherweight champion, Steve Robinson, which he called out right after winning a fight.
Well, believe it or not, Steve, I'm fighting super middleweights, cruiserweights, so stepping up to featherweight to me is just going to be a dream come true. And when I do get to featherweight and we do meet, there's definitely the champion standing right here, my brother.
At the time, Steve was on an 8-fight winning streak and was now holding the belt for more than 2 years. So people thought that Steve would be a real challenge. And after moving to featherweight, the WBO, his boxing associations, would rank him as the #1 contender, even if he had never fought in this division. This would add up to the criticism and the controversy of this boxer. But as usual, Hamed would continue to trash talk, which would heat up even more his detractors. But when the fight finally came, no critics could stop what would happen. The tension between the two was at its peak.
So they're probably expecting a very fast start from Hamed.
With the aim of counter-punching him, but Robinson's not buying that. He's fighting out of that high-held guard. And that is just a slip. He just wrestled him over. Big Welsh crowd would love to have those smiles. What is spiriting at the moment for Robinson, because all he's doing is hitting the night air. Robinson, oh, he's got him! Down goes Robinson for only the 2nd time in his career. His eyes look to be closing a bit.
Yes,
he's demoralised too.
He's definitely in trouble there. He doesn't know what he's got to do to get out of the way of punches.
Robinson looks to be on unsteady legs to me now. And I think the referee stopped it. He stopped the fight, and Prince Naseem Hamed is now king.
After that fight, Hamed had the opportunity to fight in his hometown, in Sheffield. He was matched against Jose Badillo, a relatively new fighter, and when the showman was put in front of his hometown, he gave everything he got for what would be written as one of the best performances of his career.
He does have his way of throwing other punches from crazy angles, particularly that kind of corkscrew type uppercut. You saw it attempted there. There's a left hand, that's rocked Badillo. Now it looks here as if he's decided that he's going to get the argument finished. Now that's not a knockdown.
Moment, everything so far to Hamed. I don't think there's many would argue with that.
Huge jab. And now he's going through the razzle-dazzle. Watch the use of the shoulder.
Again, that right hand working so well, and this is a very confident Hamed.
Well, look at this, I think he's trying to do all this for the Sheffield fans. He's playing to the audience, trying to taunt poor Badillo, who's taking all this. Badillo, not too happy, took another big left hand. This fellow is durable, but even he was wobbled by that. Then a right, blood coming from his nose. This could be the finish now, they want to stop it. Badillo's corner want to stop it. They've rescued him. They don't want him to take any
His
more
style,
risks.
his entrance, his personality, it's like everything was made to entertain. As much as the critics hated him, the public loved him, and he would become for many the boxer who made boxing interesting, and he would create unforgettable memories. He would then win his next 7 fights with the same sauce that the fan loved, scoring incredible KOs which built up his legacy even more. He really seemed unstoppable. Naseem was matched with Marco Antonio Barrera on the 7th April of 2021, and as usual, Hamed was hyper-confident. He was 3-1 betting favorite in Las Vegas, and Marco didn't seem to be a threat to him. But for the first and only time of his career, things wouldn't go as planned.
That the Prince has developed since he was a boy.
A huge 11th round. So in the last 6 rounds, Marco's won 5 with him advice. He's going for it. He's been a big left hook by Barrera. All for
for the winner by unanimous decision, Marco Antonio Barrera.
If that's the way it's written for a man to go, that's the way it's written from Allah. I'm happy, I'm still confident. The fact is, he couldn't drop me, he couldn't knock me out, and I'm going out at this ring like a champion still. At the end of the day, I give him all congratulations and all the best of all the success in the world to him in the future.
Hamed might have underestimated his opponent, maybe not trained enough, maybe he was trying too much to put on a show, but what is undeniable is that he got dominated in every way. And outside from the physical repercussions of a loss, the mental repercussions might have been deeper than we could think. Marco would then become an incredible dominant boxer in his era. After the loss to Marco, Hamed's career trajectory began to decline, and he said later that he had hands problems, which is one of the reasons of his retirement, and we could also suppose that he faced many problems outside of the ring as well. Additionally, there were reports of personal and legal issues that may have contributed to his decision to retire at only 28. To come back to the day I discovered Naseem Hamed, one thing that I asked myself is why didn't I know about him sooner? I already was a bit into the fighting community, and I usually love to see fighters that have an uncommon fighting style that knock people out. And when I started doing research about him, I realized that he wasn't as famous as I thought he should have been. He had everything: the style, the chaos, the records, the confidence. Even his workouts were great. And compared to someone like Mike Tyson, who fought around the same time, Hamed isn't really known outside of the boxing community, which isn't the case for Mike Tyson. So why is that? I think there might be multiple reasons for that. First, the weight category. He was mostly a featherweight. It is usually a weight that is less known to the general public. In fact, most of the boxers that are remembered by the public are heavyweight or lightweight. Featherweight isn't as widely known by the general public. Also, Prince was maybe ahead of his time. If Prince Naseem fought now, with all the social media around, he probably would have been one of, if not the most popular boxer ever. But I think the biggest reason is the length of his career. He retired from boxing at 20 years old and had a 10-year boxing career, compared to Mike Tyson, who retired at 35 and had a 20 years boxing career. If his career would have been longer, he maybe could have been written next to the name of Mike Tyson and Muhammad Ali. But when you think about it, he still has done a lot in such a short period of time. He became a world champion in different boxing associations, he was undefeated for 9 years, and to many, it wasn't just a fighter that made fight entertaining. It was the fighter who made them love boxing.